importance of risk reduction analysis and the development of a risk reduction management strategy. We were really impressed by the equation that we had. And for the most part, you usually see disasters equals hazard multiplied by the vulnerability. But then it was really brought out that it wasn't just the hazard, but the hazard in proportion to the proportion of the hazard multiplied by made worse by the vulnerability. Yeah. But then you get your quantification from the ability to manage the situation. And as well as having a risk reduction strategy, which would go back to the national objectives for the country. So that was impactful for us. We also went on to identify the enduring principles for managing major incidents. So communication, coordination, and control, and this would be inclusive of the media and the interaction of everybody for the common goal. And thirdly, the development of a mechanism to integrate travel and tourism into national development management strategy. We don't currently have that, and it's something that we may want to look forward to doing because, you know, the propensity for disasters are ever evolving, and a lot of what you never used to happen is currently, you know, happening, you know. Yeah. So that would be something that we may want to look forward to doing. So that's our 3 takeaways.
Because travel and tourism are part of your risk reduction strategy, because that's part of the national strategy for any island upon whom tourism is a key part of the economy, and that is also a key part. So this sort of feeds into there perfectly.
The importance of having functional victim ID systems, and we thought that it's a good thing, but you're going to be up against the privacy advocates. If you want to establish a national database, people are going to be like, where is this information going? Who's there? But it is so important. Our colleague from Dominica, he indicated they're still trying to identify people. If they had a proper registry, that would not be, and it gives you the closure and takes care of those issues. Number 2, off-site contingency plans. We run out of the building, we go to the emergency assembly point, we get roll call, but then what happens after that? Nobody thinks past that point. That's huge. Number 3, there is no blueprint for disaster management. I like that one. You got to lead what you got. You got to be agile. You got to be functional. You got to be innovative to make it work. And you got to trust the people you have around you, your team. Media training is essential. Well, that goes without saying. I got nothing further to say about that. Disaster management is a complex challenge, and you've got to include the private sector at all levels as early as possible, because a lot of time they have access to unlocking resources that at the government level we don't have. And finally, last but not least, the reveal. Know where your food comes from, Robert. We like that a lot.
Just want to add one comment. I'm glad you picked up the point there is no blueprint, but there is a framework. Yes. So don't go away and say, we don't need to plan.
And it's also not an excuse to move away from principles.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Also, we find out that effective use of risk reduction tools are very important. And this is not just for disaster management. This can be incorporated in everyday life, in different situations, in different working areas of your whole life. So this is our first takeaway. Buy-in from political directorates, NGOs, different persons who are involved in risk reduction. This is very, very important. Once you have the buy-in from your superiors, from different entities, you have the working going more effectively and efficient. Important use of the 3 C's. All right. This once you have the knitting of these C's, we have again effectiveness coming out of all the working that is necessary to be done in risk management.
I'm really pleased that risk reduction has come up a couple of times, because my concern is that risk reduction has become a kind of a scientist thing. And they'll tell you about the risks of hazards and the risks of tsunamis and so on. But actually, we, the emergency management community, have got to turn the risk of the hazard into, turn the hazard into a risk of something which affects people, property, environment, in such a way that we can allocate responsibility, accountability, tasks, and information, and so on. That's why we took you down that little exercise. So I'm glad that's come up. And yes, buy-in from political direction, and that's an enduring task. Because remember, there are development people who have got all the ideas, and what do we have? We have the ODS. And we've got that negative image which we have to overcome.
And I think every one of us understands that concept. And one of the things that came up, I was born up as we were discussing, is that all of us would have come in here believing that hurricanes and so on, and once you've done this, you realize that they may not necessarily be the top of the chain. An open-minded approach, and as we were going, the need to achieve success, even with the ICS tool. And our friend from Dominic Innocent, all yesterday, he was, long after the others had tried to convince him that you can have more than one silver, he still went away with it. And I think what he was saying, having an open-minded approach will lend itself to you being more susceptible to change. Because and that's why I think even with Jack's presentation about targeting the young people, because most of us here are set in our ways. I will tell you, if you move to the States, you're probably going to get killed because we're accustomed driving on the left side of the road. And they do it differently. But younger people are persons to who we must target, and having an open-minded approach is absolutely vital. And to achieve a proper situational analysis to inform decision-making. In other words, don't run onto a scene expecting that it's going to, it's a one-fit-all. You're going to have to make adjustments on the fly. And so if you have that, to achieve that, you must be able to do a proper situational analysis based on the situation in front of you. All right?
Really glad to see situational awareness come up. That's going to be very big next week, because in your groups you're playing multiple agencies and multiple roles. And what makes life easy for you in the exercises that we give you is that we give you all the information in the booklet. You want to know what's happened? Read the booklet. This is what happened. That's not reality. Reality is you get bits of it, you get bits of it, you get bits of it, and you get bits of it. Now you come together and you piece the thing together. And we do a little exercise back at the university where we take a picture of a scene of a disaster and we rip it up into eight bits. And then we give you a bit, and a bit, and you a bit, and you a bit. And just from your bit, you try and work out what on earth's going on. So one of you is looking at a sunny day, and someone else is looking at firemen all over the place. And you've all got different bits of this piece of paper. And then we get you to hand in the bits of paper, get together as a group, and draw the bits of paper from your memory of what your bit was, and see if you can recreate the picture from memory. That's a way of practicing people just in the concept of situational awareness. You've all got bits. And what we've got to do is to make it into a proper situational, a commonly recognized information picture. Really good. Thank you very much.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I have 3 points. One, we will look at what we found was very important was the importance of the collaboration of a multi-sectoral approach in order to effect a good response to invent how the military, the police, the doctors, the health, all of these agencies must come together. It's important that we come together, understand what it is that we're doing, and understand a common goal in order to, as first, we effect a good operation. The importance of proper record keeping and tracking of persons, victims, resources, all of these things are important. So at every point that you have assembly, record keeping is supposed to be happening. This thing is important. The ability required to think outside the box is essential. It's true we may have a plan, it is there, but not every situation is the same, not every event is the same, and we will have to think outside the box in order for us to have a very successful operation. And the last thing, just a bit of humor. This morning we learned that Jack is actually multi-talented.
And you did that in front of the camera being filmed.